3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Ash on Comics. My name is Ash, and it's time for the In and Out Weekly Pull List of Comics. Yeah, so I was writing this out, and I realized I forgot to put Weekly Comics Pull List. And I got to here, and I was like, why is... Oh, as I just wrote it out stupid. Episode 21 of this second season, 2019 season... Wait, no. I can't even say the year right. 2019 season of Comic Pull List videos. I'm thinking about changing this up a little bit because these always run longer than I want to. And the only reason they run longer than I want to is because I just want it to be a quick pull list video. But then I end up like using it as an episode. And I don't really do episodes. I just do mostly comic reviews. But I like to have a time to talk about other topics. And they tend to be in this video because I don't make videos of just other things. So what I'm thinking about doing is just making a weekly episode series, Ash on Comics episode series, every Wednesday, where the pull list is part of it, and then also about other things. It's kind of already happening that way. Tell me what you think, or if you think I should just shut up and just talk, say, here's my comics, the end. Give me your feedback. I want to listen. Oopsie, knocked my burger. There's a burger under here, if you're new to the channel. So, speaking of talking about different topics, number one, my boy, Quirky, we call him Jimmy, Comics Quirks, good friend of the channel, he's got a YouTube channel of his own, all around genuinely nice guy. He was asking me, why do you do the 3, 2, 1 on your videos? What's going on? And I explained to him that it was just a stylistic choice, and it's something that Joe Rogan does, or used to do. I haven't watched the show in a few weeks, but where he just counts down and runs the show. Actually, he used to do the 3, 2, 1, and then hello, freak bitches. And he's dropped the freak bitches lately. I haven't heard him do that in a while. So I just started doing it. Not because I want to just be like Joe Rogan, although I would love to be like Joe Rogan, but also because it kind of gets the frogs out of your throat. Like a lot of times I've started videos and I'm like, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, I'm starting to talk in the 3, 2, 1. Anyways, he doesn't believe me. I told him that and he's like, sure, that's why you do it. I don't know what other reasons, but Jimmy, that's why. If anyone else is worried. Speaking of other people, channels, this guy, Panels and Borders, actually his name's Dominic, but his channel is called Panels and Borders. I got a chance to meet him through social media. He's a really nice guy. And he runs a comic book / pop culture channel. And he does different things. He's really, really big into the new Dune movie, which, if you know anything about Dune, which is like probably the best sci-fi, one of the top 3 best sci-fi books ever written. And then the director, Denis Villeneuve, I can't remember pronounce his last name, who's one of the best directors working today. He's doing Dune. So I was like, oh my God. So there's good reason for him to be super excited. He's got a lot of Dune stuff. And he does other things, talk about comic books, culture war stuff, Netflix, She-Ra, kind of across the board. But he's starting a new series that is a one-on-one interview series similar to what Joe Rogan does. If you've watched Joe Rogan, I'm a big fan of that style of show. I kind of would like to do that myself, but I don't think I'm a good interviewer. I don't think so. But he asked for some people, if anyone wanted to be on the show, whatever. I'm honored to be what I think is the first guest. I have to go through his other content, see if he's done this before. I think I'm the first one, so that's a big honor. As you can see here, I've been listening to it just to kind of hear how it turned out, because sometimes when you're talking and you think how you sound, and then how you actually sound aren't one and the same. But it was a really fun experience. I had a great joy doing it. Dominic is a great interviewer. He listens. He doesn't just butt in, interrupt people. He lets you talk. He doesn't try to shape the interview at all. And he asks good questions. So I'm biased, I know, but I think it turned out really well. There's some sound issues that are just technical kinks that I think he'll end up working out, but it's otherwise perfectly listenable. And I think I came across pretty well. He comes across really well. We have a really good discussion about Comicsgate, why I started my channel, just different things like that. And it's a good listen. I know it's pretty long, but you can listen to it like a podcast, listen to it at work, listen to it on a commute, whatever. There's no real video. It actually is just like a audio podcast. It's just treat it that way. So hopefully you'll listen to it. Check out his channel. And thank you very much, Dom, for having me on as a guest. And I hope your channel gets much success. So back to what I'm doing. And I might actually make a separate video just to promote this in case, because you're not, no, anyways, no one's going to know to look here for that. Anyway, In and Out Weekly Comics Pull List for today is March 15th. And as always, every week we feature Marvel Comics number ones because you gotta follow the number ones. That's the reason to buy comics. Every collector knows this. The number one issue will always be worth money. You can get them, save them up, send your kids off to college. All the number ones are sought after. No, that's not really. It's a joke. This week, we've got not one, but two War of the Realms new series debuting at number one. We have War of the Realms Strike Force. I think this makes for the third War of the Realms Strike Force series. So it's not enough that there's a War of the Realms Strike Force. There has to actually be three War of the Realms Strike Force different series. This one's called The War Avengers, whatever that means. Then we've got War of the Realms, Spider-Man, and the League of Realms. All right, so Spider-Man has his own War of the Realms book, debuting number one. When I originally counted this, I counted 7 in the solicits, but I feel like I've been doing this pull list. Every week there's a new number one. I feel like there's more than 7. Star Wars, as I say every week, every single week, catch me if you tell me out of 21 episodes, has there been a single week where there hasn't been at least one Star Wars number one book? I don't actually know, but I feel like the answer is no. But look at this, something special. We have just a normal comic number one launch. We haven't seen that in a little while. This one is Giant Man number one. Because what have comic fans been clamoring for? To have his own series, because he's just so wildly popular. That's right, Giant Man. Giant Man, one of the most popular Marvel characters, finally getting his own book so that we can just enjoy his adventures. Oh my God. And then Marvel Tales has a Marvel Tales number one, Marvel Tales Iron Man number one. That, of course, means that there's room for more Marvel Tales number ones. And I believe there are actually more Marvel Tales books. I'd have to go back and check. Now, I put the prices down here. Most of these books are just a normal $3.99. Normal overcosted $3.99 for cheap books with ink runs off your hands. But Marvel Tales Iron Man is a $7.99 deluxe. Look at that. So for just $23.95, you can get all 5 of these books, and you'll be set. I write these numbers down. I forgot to mention these last week. So this week, Marvel had 20 comics come out, 20 separate comics, 2 of which were above issue 20. 69 comics if you count all the variant covers. So if you wanted to collect all Marvel, you'd have to get 20 books. If you want all Marvel, including every variant, you'd have to buy 69 books. Only 11 of those 69 books are actually above issue 20. And I think like 6 of those were for Spider-Man 21. There's like 6 variants for that. So yeah, super inflated numbers. Just thought I'd mention. I just like poking fun at Marvel because they do horrendously stupid things. Oh, speaking of stupid things, you see. So I was on last week with my friend Wes from Thinking Critical. He has a really good channel. He does a live stream every Saturday morning. This one was a Sunday due to different reasons, but we did a stream on the new Marvel 1000, and I think that stream came out really well. Please go check it out. You can watch, if you didn't catch it live, you can catch it after the fact, where Wes and I'm a guest on the show, and we all talk about Marvel's 1000 release, and we make fun of it and just like, oh my, it's if you want to hear a rant and tomfoolery about that, go there. So, but within days of that stream coming out, Marvel decided, hold our beer, and announced they're canceling the entire X-Men line and starting it over. That's right, Uncanny X-Men, which just launched, I believe it was in December of just last year, that puts it at the 6 months mark, is now being canceled. Remember that? Remember when it was we're canceling all the Rainbow X-Men and we're launching Uncanny X-Men and that's what you want? We're giving you what you want? Bullshit, you got conned. They are starting X-Men over. Get prepared, buy a bunch of new number ones, because don't forget, with that Uncanny X-Men launch, they also launched 7 X-Men spin-off books that all had their number ones, all the Age of X-Men nonsense. So it's the new scam. Get ready. It's coming. Oh, you can't wait. Maybe there'll be an Uncanny X-Men 1000 special issue. I can't wait for that announcement. All right, let's unbox the good stuff. Fortunately, Marvel Comics does not make burgers, but In-N-Out Burger does. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Perfect. Push that aside. Now, with me, as always, or most times, Stan the man. And Stan, how was that burger? Oh yeah, I could tell you really liked it. Stan likes In-N-Out. Looks like he has a big drink. That's a big drink you got, Stan, to wash that down with. Let's move on. Boom! Here's my Weekly Comics pull list, May 15th. Spoiler alert. You can pause the video and see. Don't forget, War of the Realms. Don't forget. Don't miss out on the War of the Realms. 79 issues to collect. Get them all. Gotta catch them all. Is there more Pokemon or more Marvel Comics? I don't know. That'd be a good question. Let's find out. All right, here is my receipts this week. Just barely more than it would cost to get all 5 Marvel number ones. It's my pull list. First issue off the bat, we have Out of Focus Superman. There we go. Superman number 11 by our boy Brian Michael Bendis. Ivan Rice back on the book? What's going on? Funny thing is, I got to the store today. I got there about an hour after opening. It was a little late. And they were sold out of this. I was like, what's going on? You sold out of Superman of all damn books? That's crazy. And so they had another store, because like I said, the store that I go to has like 7 locations. I called around another store and they had a copy. And they said, oh yeah, we'll just, they'll bring it over in the middle of the week and we'll have it for you. And I said, oh cool, just put it in my pull box. I'll pick it up next week. So then the nice lady at the comic book store that I like, is a good person, said, hey, I'll pull this out of someone who hasn't picked up their pull list and give you their copy, and we'll take yours that's coming from the other store and give it to them. And I was like, oh, cool. I was going to wait till next week, but that's fine. So that was kind of neat. And, oh, what do we have here? Oh, not to be outdone. Superman by Bendis, Batman by King. It's the 1-2 punch of how to destroy the 2 flagship characters of the oldest comic company in the world. Now, my fellow YouTuber, reviewer, Sergeant Bats, would call this the world's finest trio, because he associates Robin as the world's finest. I disagree, but I could be wrong. I've always just assumed these two. But there is the trio. This is Nightwing number 60. I did a review on number 59. I'm going to stick with this for a couple issues because I want to see how Jurgens turns this around. There's a lot of controversy about this book. Nightwing fans seem very upset about this, and I can kind of understand good reason. I'm okay with the storyline, but I'm not invested. I'm coming in new. So if you're a person who's been reading Nightwing for 20 years or whatever, I understand. I remember when X-Men went off the rails in the mid-90s, 17 years of Chris Claremont, and then all of a sudden they went south. Now, I didn't get angry. I just was like, no, I'm not interested anymore. And I moved on. Today, environment's a little bit different in comics. People get outraged and upset and stuff like that. I don't think there's necessarily a reason to get upset. I don't think this character has been mishandled in such a way that's egregious. You can argue that they made a mistake. That's fine. I mean, that's happened all the time. And you try to correct it and do better the next time. But it is obvious that it's not popular with fans. And at this point, you've got 9 issues, 10 issues. It's time to cut your losses and say, okay, fans aren't dealing with this. Let's try to fix it. Give Dan Jurgens a couple of issues. I don't really understand the anger and animosity towards this at all because, they killed Superman. Everyone loved it. They broke Batman's back. Everyone loved it. They shoot Dick Grayson in the head, and everyone's like, fuck that shit. Oh, okay. Okay. But yes, calling him Rick Grayson is stupid. Justice League. I am on a binge trying to catch up on Justice Leagues, and I am loving Justice League. So I haven't got up to these issues yet, but I'm excited to catch up because I'm loving it. Scott Snyder is doing a bang-up job what I'm reading, and I'm currently at the Drowned Earth storyline, and that'll take a little bit because there's tie-in issues to cover that, and I'm also trying to catch up on Justice League Dark and Odyssey, but loving what Scott Snyder's doing. Scott Snyder is a really big idea. He may not be the best writer as far as just writing goes, but he's chock full of ideas. He's a really good idea man, and it's good for DC to have a guy like him kind of pushing overall story narratives. And if you disagree, that's fine, but you'll see when Bendis or King start pushing overall story narratives, you'll be like, Scott, save us. Spider-Man life story. Ash, you're buying Marvel, so if you don't know the backstory on this, yep, this is his first Marvel book that I've bought since coming back into comics. First new physical Marvel book, that is. And for good reason. First 2 issues are stellar, and it's a great idea for a comic book. Chip Zdarsky's writing his ass off. Mark Bagley is the guy that replaced the 2 legends of Spider-Man when it was the best it ever was, that being Todd McFarlane and then later Eric Larson. Mark Bagley, I talk about like intimidating. How do you follow up those 2? You're just like, oh, okay. But he did. I don't like him as much as the previous 2 as far as his art, but he pulled it out like a champ. Like he's like, all right, let's do it. And so he's doing a pretty good job here. What more can you say? If you like Spider-Man back in the day, you should really check this out. This is a winner of a series. When we talk about comic books, and we critique and we say, there hasn't been. When was the last time there was like a great comic book? When people talk about like all-time great comics, they mention things like Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns. Sometimes they'll even talk about Kingdom Come. Well, that's been controversial lately because Mark Waid. We talk about these, Infinity Gauntlet, Marvels. I'm sure there's a ton that I'm missing off the top of my head, but none of them are in like the past 20 years. This is one of the first books I've seen, at least from Marvel, that could maybe, we'll see how it all turns out, be in that conversation where we go, that was an epic. This is going to stand the test of time. And then I'm still picking up, getting into indies here, Firefly. And I've only read the first issue, so I'm behind. This is another book I'm behind on, but the first issue I thought was pretty solid. Greg Pak is one of those writers who I think is not a really good writer, but he's just kind of a solid writer. He could just carry a comic book. And what I liked, at least about the first issue, is it felt like he understood the voices of the characters. So when I was reading it, I was hearing Malcolm Reynolds in my head. I was hearing Jane. I was hearing Zoe. I was, the voice felt right, and that was a big important thing to me. They didn't start talking like they were, you know, modern comic book. Oh my God, like the Firefly. And then speaking of independent comics that are freaking phenomenal, actually this is the only one this is not phenomenal, but it was fun. This is phenomenal. Oblivion Song, short story about this. There's 2 Earths, right? It's an interdimensional thing. It's not like a physical thing. They discover a way to cross dimensions and find the other Earth. They don't call it, actually, they call it Oblivion. They don't understand how it works at first. So the beginning, they don't really understand that they're on it's all part of the story. They figure things out. And it's one of the great things about this book is how it's like an onion and the layers just keep getting peeled back. And you're like, oh my God. And as you're discovering it along as the characters, what's happening here and everything, you're like, it's fascinating. Then it has all the traditional characterization value, like that if you like Walking Dead, where you got this big cast of characters and you like them and the interaction and all that stuff, it has that part too. This is not a book about zombies or anything. It's about some characters that are... Anyways, I don't want to say... You can't talk about this book without spoiling it. That's the problem. I haven't done any reviews on this book because I'm like, I don't know how to review this book without spoiling anything, and I just want you to read it. So the only thing I can say is every 6 issues is a story arc of its own that does continue on to the next one. So if you want to get into Oblivion Song, you get trade paperback number 1 and trade paperback number 2. They're both reasonably priced. Image does a great job with reasonably pricing their trade paperbacks. You can get them even better price on Comixology. I've seen them sell the first one for like $2 something when it's on sale. So it's 6, then up to 12, and this is up to 15. So all you need to get is 13, 14, and 15, and you're super caught up. If you don't do that, you can. One of the things they do is when this arc finishes, what they do is they release the trade the same day as the first issue of the next arc. So this story arc will end on issue 18, and when issue 19 comes out, it'll be issue 19 and the trade. So I love what they're doing. They're trying to be as friendly as possible to fans to catch up, because unfortunately this is a long ongoing saga story. It's like manga. You don't just jump into the middle typically. Same thing here, but they're trying to make it friendly as possible. Pick this up if you like indie science fiction type books. Kirkman's a great writer. And these are my picks of the week. Tell me what you think might be the best. Looks like it's almost like an order of worst to best here. No, not really, because Spider-Man's me better than Firefly. So, probably suck. I'm so far behind on Batman, I don't even know how bad this is right now. So it's like, it almost like doesn't exist to me. I just like Batman, and I have liked Tom King in the past, so I just kind of buy it and pretend like it's old Tom King. It's probably terrible, because everyone tells me it is. Nightwing, I'm actually okay with. I think it's like a solid 3-star book out of 5. I'm not going to rave about it, but it's also not bad. It's just like a good C+. Good C+. And Jurgens, if anyone can turn it around, Jurgens. DC, good B+ here. Good B+ book. This is solid A. This is B, at least the ones I read. And then this is another A. So it's going to be, one of these two are going to be the best, I think. You tell me this will be the worst. I will be screaming about this, I'm guessing. Bendis has written some okay stuff before, but odds are against it. All right, I'm babbling on. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being a part of the channel, being a supporter. Give me the feedback below. I love to hear it, and I will see you next time.